Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. Everybody's well. Hope you're having a lovely week. Nice to see a few faces in the chat already tonight. We've got Peter Nicholas. Good evening, Peter. How you doing, mate? We've got Connor as well. So he won't be able to make it tonight because he hopes it's a good one. Thank you for popping in for Connor. We've got Blizzards as well. So he's running about 45 minutes sleep. That can't be good, mate. John Estel's got more goblins on the go tonight. Nice one. Speaking of goblins, not that we are speaking of goblins, but my Kings of War Halflings arrived today. So I did manage to build one unit of them just to kind of have a look, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting them put together. We've also got Nigel Jones. Good evening, Nigel. We've got Michael Cowan as well. This is evening all. How is everyone? I'm all right, Nigel, to be honest. I tell you what, I've got a bit of a bad back actually. I sneezed today and really jarred my back, and it's a bit tight. So we'll see how long I last tonight, and if I have to keep getting up and moving about a bit. But it's pretty stiff. It's kind of aching. I've had a couple of painkillers, and I'm basically having a kind of beer to try and take the edge off it a little bit, mate. So we've got Tiberius in as well. Hello to you, mate. Hello, Bobby Clark. Hello, Palmsy. Nice to see you, gentlemen. Jasonson as well, saying I haven't played either, but I get Overdrive and Super Fantasy Brawl confused. Yeah, I think a Fantasy Brawl is fantasy, and Overdrive is the sci-fi one, and Overdrive is the Mantic one that is based upon kind of the Mantic sci-fi universe. That might be the best way to remember it. So Super Fantasy Brawl is a fantasy one. Jason saying, show off those halflings. I can't, mate. They're in the house actually. They're on the table in the living room where I've just been sitting doing them at tea time. Blizzard is saying he's trying his new Redgrass handle. Nice one. I'm not yet using my handle tonight because I actually pinned these models. So these models come with a kind of like a clear perspex base or a coloured perspex base. So I didn't want to stick them to the base to paint them, for example. So I've kind of just pinned them to corks tonight to paint them. So yeah, I'm not using my handle at the minute. VJ, good morning, Baconators. Good morning, VJ. How you doing? John says, are the halflings as good as they look? I'm pretty impressed with them, mate, to be honest. It's surprising how much you're basically like I bought the Mega Army, which is kind of it's got like 30 of the kind of like troop units in it. It's got a few hero models. It's got the big kind of, I forget what it is, like the big, not a pig, it's like a ram or something, isn't it? Like the big mechanical beast thing. And on the kind of main troop ones, you get like three sprues in a pack, and they do like 10 of the halfling like infantry, which you can make a couple of different ways or a few different ways, and you get 5 of the halfling cavalry in there as well. So it's quite a clever little kit actually. Yeah, I'll be quite impressed with them. Loads of detail on them, nice plastic. Yeah, I've been impressed so far, mate. But once I've kind of got a few built up, I'll probably do a bit of not an unboxing, of course, because nobody wants to see me just looking at sprues. But I'll do a bit of a review about what I think about the kit or something like that. Tiberius says, I'm putting the factions for Warcry box together. Weirdly, the ones that look hard are easy, and the bloke that's on fire is tough. The one that's on fire, I'm trying to remember which. Are you building the I can't think which Warcry faction it is you're building now, mate. Tyler Peck, good evening, mate. He's just got off work. He's about to listen as he drives home. Safe driving, mate, while you're in the car there. Busey saying, even all trying to pop those beer cans open. VG says, keen to see those halfling grenadiers. I'm going to convert to gobos. Yeah, like I say, they're in the house at the moment. I haven't even got them in the studio here, so we'll have a look at them probably next week now. Peter says he's putting some paint on his Krieg models. And Dan Kennedy, hello, mate. He said he's putting together some Malifaux minis tonight. I've got a backlog of Malifaux stuff to be cracking on with, mate. I need to get to them at some point. But I am painting some I'm going to say Overwatch. It's not called Overwatch, it's called Overdrive. Some Overdrive minis. Mantic very kindly sent me out an early copy to have a look at prior to it going on sale. It's up for pre-order at the moment, but it's not actually available for a purchase until the end of this month. And they sent me out one to have a look at. So I thought if I'm going to do a bit of a review or a bit of a playthrough of it or anything like that, it'd be nice if I had some paint on the models. So I might as well take a look at these. So the models we've got, I've got the cards here as well, so I can kind of show you what they are. So these are the stat cards that come with the models. Basically, this is the stat for the spawn. All the stats along the front, your abilities on there, and then this is your overdrive, which is like your special ability that you get to do once per turn. So yeah, this is the spawn model. So these models, there's 6 come in the box. I think, I'm trying to remember, it was 2 or 3 of them. It might have been 4 of them actually. They're all plastic. I think it was 3 or 4 of them needed some kind of assembly. I can't remember if this one did. This one might have come. Did it come as one piece? I think I had to glue some of this together. But this is the Spawn model. Quite nice. Sorry, very nice sculpt. And I've sprayed these with the black Colourforge primer, the matte primer, which went on lovely. And this is the first time I've used the white Colourforge matte primer as well. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. It's nice and smooth. It's not gritty. It's not grainy. I've used it as a bit of a kind of a zenithal type thing, but I've laid a bit more on so I can get some nice bright colours for these. But yeah, it's gone on pretty well. So that's the Spawn model. Give you a bit of a better background to it there. So that's Spawn. Next up, we've got a model called Sindoka, which is this kind of like weird looking space jellyfish type model. This one came as a single piece model. There was nothing to build on this one. It all came sort of pre stuck together, if you like. So this is a Sindoka. Next up, we have Dozer, who is a Teraton. If I remember right, this one did have that. I remember sticking the tail on. Yeah, this one did need some gluing together. Nice kind of chunky plastic model there. There were some like kind of little bits of cleanup to do, but nothing too serious. I've probably missed some bits as well, but I'm not overly fussed on that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's Dozer. Next up, we have Caradon. So he's the kind of like the half man, half shark model, which again, I have to stick this one together. I think this one might have come pre-assembled, this one. Yeah, really nice again. That white's gone on nice and smooth. Really been pleased with how that Colourforge white's gone on. Next up, we have Scarathron, who's kind of a bit of a sort of like a space bug type thing. I mean, if it just compare sizes, it's quite a chunky model there. Comes on like a base thing there as well to kind of keep it raised up. But yeah, this is there's a little bit of there's a mold line across there, which was a little bit fiddly to try and clean out. That's one thing I would say about that, but kind of done the best I could. But because of like the ridges around there, it's not like you could kind of scrape a knife along it. It would have been nice if the mold line was along there or something, but it wasn't the end of the world. It's cleaned up all right. So that's that one, and then the last one is Brank Reborn, which is one of the I forget what they're called now, like the dwarf giant models. But yeah, I think I had to stick some of this together. I think I had to put the arms on, possibly the legs as well. I forget now. I'm trying to look and see if I can see any joins. Can't remember, but yeah, easy enough to go together. They've got like kind of like little locator pins, so they only kind of go together one way. You could obviously clip them off if you wanted to try and kit bash them a little bit. But yeah, so those are the models that come in the box. And I think I'm going to paint, or I'm going to certainly start with Spawn tonight, I think, which is the kind of the tentacle monster type thing. I think we're going to start with this one. What's happening in the chat here? Tavinda says he's got some Mantic Halflings on the paint table tonight. Incredible stuff. Nice one. I was just saying I've made a start on mine tonight as well. Vincent VT, good evening to you, mate, as well. He's got some Ratkin on the go. Peter says a Chova. That's the space jellyfish. Oh, there you go, mate. He says his favourite model from the Dead Zone universe is the original Rebs Teraton. Just cool. Good evening, Ryan, as well. Hope you're well, fella. I don't think, is it an Iron Ancestor? I forget, mate, now. And Ryan says, how do you pin them to cork? Do you put a proper pin in the foot and cut it off later, or do you just stick it down or something? So, I don't know if you can kind of see there. So what I've done is I use a hobby pin vise, and I drill into the feet, and then I get a paper clip and strip off the kind of the plastic coating on it, and then I super glue the pin into the feet, and then just push them down into the cork. So that means I can just pull them out again afterwards. Although to be fair, I'll probably pull the pins out when I actually stick them to the bases, because I don't really want to have to drill through the acrylic. I'll just super glue them to the bases. But yeah, it's pretty simple, mate. It's just rather than because some of the bases are quite sort of fancy and stuff, I didn't want to. I would normally just pop them down into like some blue tack or something like that to spray them, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any bits. So yeah, so we're gonna crack on and try and get some paint on this tonight. Fancy, and they look cool. Yeah, they're not bad, mate. They're looking pretty good. So I'm essentially going to try and do them. Busey says a battery-powered SDS drill into the feet. Yeah, that's a little bit overkill, mate. I'll show you what I use. I use this, which is just that little hobby pin. So basically, you kind of unscrew that, put the drill bit in there, tighten it up, and then basically you kind of like you kind of rest it in the palm of your hand there, and then you can kind of just like spin it by hand and drill into the base. So yeah, I don't use any battery-powered stuff. It's a little bit overkill. And then I've just got some of these, which I just got from Hobbycraft. Lots of different sizes drill bits, so right away from 0.3mm up to 1.6mm. And I think for these, I normally use about 1mm drill. I think it is for those particular paper clips that I've got. So the combat version is called Iron Ancestor. There you go. Hello, Frederick Schultz as well. How are you doing, mate? Nice to see you in the chat. So yeah, as I was about to say there, I'm essentially just going to use contrast paints to get the base colours down. I'll probably highlight up from there and maybe use other colours to kind of layer them up a little bit and get a nicer coverage. But I just want to get the sort of base colours down. So we'll probably paint a bit more tonight. We might not get, one particular model finished, but we'll start to get some colour on a few of them. But yeah, so I'm going to start with Contrast Ultramarines Blue. And I'm going to be using this to do the kind of like the main armour. So yeah, we'll crack on with that. Which brush to use? I think we'll use this one. I'll do with a bit of a clean, to be fair, but let's not worry too much. Frederick's currently working on some Ents from Middle Earth. Nice one, mate. Are those the new Ents? Wasn't there some new ones came out not too long ago? And Blizzard saying, okay, this Red Cross handle is like butter. Like butter. There you go. Yeah, so we're just gonna, like I say, we're just gonna pop the pop this contrast paint on just to get it. I find the contrast paints actually go on quite nice as like a base coat. You can't obviously put them on too thick, so you get a nice smooth coat from them. And the pigment in them is pretty good as well, certainly in certain contrast colours. You just get like a nice coverage for your base colours, really. And then I'll tend to work up from there, be it like highlighting with a normal acrylic paint, or dry brushing on top of it, or maybe even put 2 coats of contrast on just to get a nice kind of deeper coverage, and not use it for the kind of like the highlight and shading side of things. Oh, Blizzard's saying it turns smooth. Fair enough. Hello, Jill. How are you doing? Is the red grass handles a fab? Didn't think I'd ever buy a painting handle, but I own 2 of them and 6 extra tops. Yeah, I kind of thought they must have been a bit of a gimmick thing. Christian bought me one as a gift with one of the original version ones, which is the one where the tops don't turn. And actually what I found was just the shape of it was just, it was kind of perfect for my hand, really. I never got on with the GW one. It was a bit too chunky for me. And I just found, let me just turn this light up a little bit. A little bit brighter for my eyes there. That's it. I could never get on with the GW handles. It was just an awkward size for me. I mean, I'm sure some people it's the perfect size for their hands, but for me, I found it quite uncomfortable. But the red grass ones, they're a little bit thinner, and they just fit really, really nice in my hand. So yeah, I generally use them, but like I say, I've pinned these for priming today. So I'll just be using them on the pins today, I think. Marcus says, hello, just got in from the garage, pulling in autumn decor for the house. Autumn decor? Wow, we have Christmas decorations, mate, that's about it. We don't tend to have any, I haven't got like any summer decorations or any autumn decorations. That's very organised. So yeah, so the plan with these is just I'll do a bit of a a bit of a review of what you get in the box. Obviously, I've played quite a few games of this. If you've seen me do the playthrough stuff that I did with Rob as well, and I've obviously played a few games that I haven't put on camera as well. And yeah, I'll kind of put my thoughts together and do a bit of a video on it. As I was saying, yeah, going to have to order a lot more tops. I tend to find that because I only paint in smaller batches, I think I've got like 9 of the tops or something like that for it. I just like, that's more than enough. I tend not to paint anything bigger than a batch of 10. So I've got the 9 tops for that one, plus the one that's the original one that doesn't spin. Sorry, that doesn't come off, not that doesn't spin. So that tends to be enough really. So I've never found that I needed to buy more tops for it. I guess at some point I'll probably lose them or something like that. But yeah, I think I've intentionally kind of kept it down, because I think if I buy lots of more tops, I'll just end up with a pile more stuff in the work in progress pile. And I like to keep the kind of pile of stuff I'm working on quite small. So yeah, it's a nice little kind of self-imposed way of not getting out of control really. Frederick Strays says, I have the new Tree Beard, really nice model, but I still need to buy the new Quick Beam. The Middle Earth team at GW is quite small, but they're very close to the community and put out some great stuff. People were really impressed with the new ents. Oh, I'm glad I'm glad folks seem to like that stuff, mate. Sure, I've got this on camera as well. Appreciate that grey background. It's probably a bit bright on that, but once I get some colours on, it'll kind of take it down a little bit. Marcus says, so I showed my friends Rumble Slam after Monday's stream as a joke. My friend Steve is already ordering $300 worth of stuff. That's what tends to happen. There's always somebody who's kind of like big into their wrestling and stuff, and as soon as they see it, they go all in. So nice one. Marcus says, we decorate for every season and holiday. Well, mate, commitment to the cause there. I don't think that's a thing that really happens in the UK, unless somebody's going to tell me different, but I think people generally decorate for Christmas. You might get some folks who might do a little bit of sort of Halloween decorating and stuff like that, but generally we don't do much in terms of like seasons and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't decorate for summer, for example. So what would you do to decorate for autumn? Is it all the kind of the harvest stuff, like ears of corn everywhere? Huge amount of deco boxes. Take up a little more than half of a 2-car garage. Wow, mate. These are like the GW ones for holding a 4 to 5 mini unit on a stick. Single minis. I like the red grass ones. Yeah, I just, like I say, the GW one's just a little bit big for my hand. It makes my hand cramp after a little while. I just find it uncomfortable. But I mean, they're well made. Nothing wrong with them. They're just I bought one and then I never bought any more. So yeah, just plugging away here. Go down. As I was saying, he's only got the one right now. Autumn, cornucopia, corn and pumpkins. Wow, mate. That is a dedication to the cause. I've never heard of anybody kind of decorating for like seasons and stuff like that. Is it a common thing in the States, or is it just something that you and your family do? Or like I say, it's not something I've ever heard of before. Mark says, yeah. He said Rumble Slam, Dropkick, Blood Bowl out of the running for the next box game we wanted to get for the group. Certainly wouldn't be buying Blood Bowl, that's for sure, personally, but yeah, each to their own. I appreciate my taste and not shared by everybody. says decorating for the season is a kind of American thing. Yeah, it must be, mate. Like I say, people obviously go sort of quite nuts over Christmas, and like the American sort of Halloween tradition seems to be seeping into the UK a little bit now as well, because it never really used to. Like when I was a kid, you kind of carved a turnip. Actually, if I'm honest, we didn't really have pumpkins, but now people carve pumpkins. Yeah, people are starting to kind of decorate houses and putting things sort of up on the lawn and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a more recent thing. It's definitely something that's kind of carried over from the States. Although it does just feel like a way that card shops and decorating shops, party shops and stuff are just trying to get a little bit more out of it. Because as soon as Halloween's done, like the Christmas decorations all come out in the shops, and the Christmas cards and everything. I think it's just a way to get people to keep buying. Tiberius, I thought autumn decorating was made up for the Gilmore Girls. I've still never seen the Gilmore Girls. I have no idea what it's about. Yeah, it does sound like one of those things that you see in a TV show and think, oh yeah, but surely people don't do that though. I do like these chats we have about the little kind of different traditions of things that happen stateside and things that happen in the UK and how we do things a bit different. Marcus says spring is floral stuff with St. Patrick's Day and Easter, and summer is mostly patriotic 4th of July all summer long. Wow. As I said before, each to their own, and you know, obviously everybody does what they want to do. But I could never see me doing that. To be honest, I'm not a bar humbug when it comes to Christmas, but I find decorating for Christmas is a pain in the arse. My wife loves it though, so obviously we do it. But yeah, if it was up to me, I'd kind of put a tree up, and that's about it. You'll see, I decorated for Halloween at work last year. I did my flat because I was missing being able to do things for the library. I can imagine last year, Jill. I think probably a few people probably did stuff last year that they maybe didn't normally do, just like almost just to kind of like. I was having this chat the other day with my wife, and like, it's funny, like not having holidays and stuff, like having like foreign holidays. Like you almost kind of like bookmark your life by certain things that you're looking forward to, or events that you go to, or sort of way you celebrate birthdays and things. And certainly through that whole lockdown period, like, it's really hard to put like timings on things of when things happened, because there's nothing to kind of bookmark things against. And I can see why folks would want to kind of up it a bit for Halloween last year, and basically they weren't leaving the house. If I remember right as well, didn't we go into a lockdown on November the 1st or something? I think we went back into lockdown again. So yeah, I can imagine last year being a bit different. It definitely seems to be kind of picking up a bit of momentum though, the whole Halloween thing in the UK. I remember going to Florida years ago, around Halloween time, and I was amazed by just how many kind of like Halloween shops and stuff had kind of sprung up selling bits and pieces, because I'd never seen anything like it in the UK before, and now we start to see those kind of same sort of Halloween shops springing up. We also like Christmas shops that would open for a couple of months or something. But yeah, we start to see these Halloween shops and stuff now. Andrew says, wife has pretty much said if I didn't have her my Christmas list by Halloween, I don't get gifts. My God, mate. No, we're not that sort of critical on it. And paint all these bits blue. That's the only thing with prime and white, you can't afford to miss any bits. but it does give you a much brighter finish to it. I'm not really taking it too careful at the moment. There's some bits that I'm painting blue that I'll probably pick out a different colour later on, but I'm essentially just trying to get like a coating on them really. Still got it on camera there as well. Fuck. Yeah, like I said, yeah, I sneezed earlier on, and had a right shooting pain go up my back when I sneezed, and it was like, oh no, I had a bad back years ago, and I did it doing the, I think I did it when I had my motorbike accident, like when I was much younger. I think I obviously weakened it, but years and years ago, I was cleaning my car, I was washing the car, and I bent down to pick the floor mat out of the driver's side of the car, and my back went, and I have never felt pain like it in all of my life. All the things I've done, I have never felt pain like tweaking my back, putting my back out. So I think I've got a bit of a weak spot in my back now. But yeah, when I sneezed, I must have just stiffened up a bit and jarred my back, and it was like, oh. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's not going to stop me doing stuff. But if I sit for too long, it does start to stiffen up. So I might have to have a little. I might either have to cut this short tonight, or I might have to get up and have a wander about at some point. We'll see how it goes. Ed Hanley, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Nice to see you in the chat tonight. Vijay says, too busy having barbecues and drinking beers in the sun. Oh yeah, what a difference a bit of sunshine makes. We've been having a bit of a warm spell the last few days here. It was like 26 degrees or something yesterday. I was taking my son to get his suit for university, because the university he's going to, they have like formal dinners a couple of times a month. It sounds like he's gone to Hogwarts, never mind Durham Uni to be fair. But he has to have like he needs to have like a dinner jacket, like a tuxedo, like a formal wear, and then he also needs a suit for certain dinners that they have where he has to wear like a suit under his gown. When I see his gown, like, you know when people graduate and they get those black gowns, well they need to have a gown like for their formal dinners and stuff. So yeah, it all sounds a bit over the top, but I'm assuming it's some kind of university tradition. So yeah, so I had to take him shopping for a suit yesterday, and it was super hot. Jason says, I didn't get any trick-or-treaters last year. No, no, we didn't either, to be fair. Ed says, I always celebrate Halloween, but that's because it's my birthday. Andrew says, do you all have front yards in the UK? Some people do, mate. It's not everybody has them. Some people have front gardens. Some people have back gardens. Some people live in terraced houses. So like where I live, I don't have a front garden, but I have like a kind of like a double car like driveway, because I've got a double garage, and we've got like kind of like, I live like in a little sort of, not like a cul-de-sac, but like there's only 3 houses in the little bit where we live, and not so obviously like my house is in the corner and the other 2 come off the sides, so that kind of like square piece outside is just where cars come in and out. I don't really have like a front yard or anything like that, or a front garden, but then I do have a big garden at the back of the house. So yeah, it just depends, mate. Some people do, some people don't. A lot of older houses, if you go back to like sort of the late 1800s and stuff, the old Victorian houses, they were kind of just like sort of straight out of your front door onto maybe like a tiny little kind of pathway or something, or straight onto the front street. But the houses were big. They were big, like 3-story kind of townhouses and stuff. But yeah, it just depends on where you live, mate. There's not like a kind of like a standard kind of house in the UK, really. Newer houses tend to have front gardens these days. So any new build stuff tends to have a front garden. Right, a couple of little bits I've missed there. We'll leave that colour. I think we'll give that a colour, a little bit of colour. Yeah, it's in some places. My house is a small one. We turned it into somewhere to put the cars though. Yeah, that's like I say, that's kind of like people tend not like, generally like if you've got like a bit of a front garden, you wouldn't really sit in the garden because it's quite sort of public. It's like the front garden will kind of head out onto a main road, so it's generally just something that looks kind of nice for the front of your house. It doesn't really get used so much. People kind of sit out in their garden and stuff. It'll tend to be at the rear of the house where it's got a bit of privacy. So yeah, front gardens are kind of funny. They're just something that needs to be maintained, but don't really get used for anything other than make the front of the house look nice. Fiji says there's a lot of stuff in the media over here at the moment about making sure you start thinking about ordering now if you want anything from overseas for Christmas due to international shipping being so screwed. Yeah, we're kind of getting similar kind of things here. I mean, but obviously the press here take it to the extreme, so it's all about how Christmas is cancelled now and all that kind of stuff. But generally, me and my wife, like, we buy each other gifts and stuff, but we're kind of fortunate that if there's anything we really need, like, we've got savings and stuff, we tend to just buy it during the year. So when it comes to Christmas, it's like, it's always a bit of a, well, is there anything you want? And it's like, well, no, not really, because if there was, I've already bought it kind of thing. So we tend to just kind of buy each other smaller stuff, like nice little things we maybe wouldn't buy out for ourselves, like little treats and things. Or we'll buy like an experience type thing. Like I might buy like a spa day or something for her as a gift. She might kind of like get me tickets to go and see a band or something like that, and we'll do these things together. So yeah, so Christmas is not, might buy me like a nice bottle of whiskey or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, of course the UK media love to kind of to hype everything up. So yeah, apparently Christmas is cancelled this year, if you believe what you read in the news. Yeah, so I've just kind of put a blue on there to kind of cover the armor. I'll let that dry off a little bit. I'm not worried about it being patchy or kind of whether it's like shading or not or anything like that. It's purely just to get a bit of a base color down on it. So that is that one. Busey says, what are the tricks used in trick or treat? It seems like it's just eggs and flour. I don't think anybody even kind of does tricks. Like when kids come knocking on the doors, like they never used to call it trick or treat. It used to just being kind of sort of, what was it? There was like a little kind of like nursery rhyme type thing. Talking about the sky is blue, the grass is green. Have you got a penny for Halloween? If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny, which is like a half penny, will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, God bless you. That was what kids used to say. It was none of this trick or treat stuff. Yeah, now it's just trick or treat. But then nobody goes, ah, no, like, and then all of a sudden the kids go, oh. Everybody's always got like a bag full of sweets waiting for kids coming around. So I don't think I've ever seen anybody have to sort of encounter the trick stage. Right, let's look at who's next up. I think we'll do a bit of green on this fella. Let's see if we've got a nice, we'll use this camel green, I think, this contrast one. I've not used this before. Fiji says spring has definitely sprung over here. Been a beauty of a week so far. It felt like summer was kind of coming to a bit of a close here, mate. But we're certainly we're having a nice week at the moment. So yeah, long may it continue. Yeah, toilet paper the trees. Trick or treat is a threat of vandalism if you don't give candy. Jill says there's also a big trend in the UK to pave over front gardens because parking spaces are so hard to come by. Yeah, like that. Generally, sort of like newer houses and stuff, the garages tend not to be able to kind of fit a car in them, which is kind of random. Like double garages are quite rare. We're quite fortunate. Our place has got a double garage, which is why I converted it into my studio really, because we don't park the car in it. But yeah, most places that are not blessed with like a large garage and kind of off-street parking is a bit of a premium, really. So yeah, that tends to be what happens, as Jill says. Says, I made a short list of a few other games I'm grabbing for my little guy for Christmas. I started teaching him chess yesterday, as he asked. Ah, nice. Yeah, my wife's pretty organised when it comes to Christmas and stuff like that, especially for my little one. It's his birthday at the end of this month, so kind of all of his birthday stuff's been purchased. But the problem with little ones is if you buy too early for Christmas, like, they change their mind 10 times what they want. So you've got to try and balance it out, I suppose. Not get caught out this year with not being able to get stuff, but also not buy stuff that he doesn't really want after by the time Christmas comes. Visu's saying, yeah, we tend to go more experience gifts in our house too. Yeah, like, we've done some nice stuff over the years. Like, we might even like have a holiday instead. So instead of buying each other a gift, we just say, right, well, what we'll do is we'll just put that money to one side and we'll have a holiday instead, and we'll maybe have a holiday after Christmas, and just do stuff like that. Because I'm not really kind of like I used to be years ago, but these days I'm not really kind of like a material person. I don't like it's like, you know, like I don't really want for kind of like any fancy clothes or anything fancy like that kind of stuff. I'm not looking for like sort of that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd like a nice bottle of whiskey, something I probably wouldn't buy for myself, is like a nice treat. Or maybe yeah, like going out, like even going out for dinner, like going to a nice restaurant that maybe might be a bit more pricey than I would normally spend, and doing that as a bit of a treat or something like that. Somewhere a bit fancy, like a Michelin star restaurant or something. Just doing that kind of stuff, it just feels a bit more appreciated rather. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we tend to do each other for presents. So, John says, just went out to get my wife some breakfast. I can't confirm or deny about beer and cookies. I haven't had cookies in ages, mate. I've got a bit of a list of things that I'm not allowed to eat for a week. So I mentioned before I kind of had some kind of health stuff, and I'm going for some tests at hospital, and I have to first of all I have to not eat for a day before I go. Which is easy, you just don't eat. But then there's certain things that I'm not allowed to eat for a week beforehand. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to kind of restrict what I can eat and what I can't eat. So yeah, I ain't looking forward to that. But yeah, I haven't had cookies in ages. I can't remember the last time I even had biscuits, never mind cookies. I do love a biscuit. I do love like Oreo cookies and stuff like that, and like the Maryland cookies and that kind of stuff. Got a bit of a sweet tooth, really. I generally go kind of desserts rather than starters, for example. James Zorm, good evening, mate. How are you doing? He says, I'm so glad summer's nearly over. I can't stand the heat. Yeah, I think we've obviously spoke about this many times before, but it generally doesn't get that hot in the UK, so summer's something to kind of look forward to, because it's if you get a bit of nice weather, then it can make like for a really nice kind of summer spell. Because yeah, once we tend to not get too bad a spring, to be fair. Spring's generally quite warm, if not like not blazing hot so much, but we tend to get some nice weather. Yeah. The UK is not the hottest of places, and then where I live in the UK, and obviously in the northern part of England, but the northeast of would you class it as northeast? It's probably just the east of the country if you include Scotland. Yeah, it's not particularly fantastic weather. He says, I always assumed in the north it's give me candy or I'll headbutt you. It's funny, I mean, it used to be money when I was a kid. You didn't get sweets. you basically got money. So you went kind of door to door, like sort of, because it used to be, because we didn't have trick or treat, we had penny for the guy. So Guy Fawkes is a person who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Forget what year it was, but many years ago. So we celebrate Halloween as in kind of we call it Guy Fawkes Night, or we used to call it Guy Fawkes Night, and that was where the fireworks would come from. And you'd basically build a bonfire and make like a bit like a scarecrow type thing called a guy, and you'd put this kind of scarecrow guy thing on the bonfire and burn it. And it was all to do with kind of this gunpowder plot of trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. So when we were kids, there was none of this kind of like sort of like candy for Halloween type thing. It was all penny for the guy. So what you'd do is you'd make this kind of scarecrow type guy thing. You'd kind of drag it around the streets, either in like an old buggy or something like that, or put it on like some kind of skateboard or something, and basically take it door to door, asking for penny for the guy basically, and then people would give you like a couple of pence or 10 pence or something like that. And then by the end of the night, if there was a group of you, you'd kind of cash up and divvy it out, and then there'd be a big bonfire somewhere, and you'd go and put the guy, the kind of the scarecrow thing, you'd go and put it on the bonfire. So it's funny how kind of Halloween's now definitely more commercialized, and it's definitely taken on the US traditions. But that's not kind of what I remember being a kid. It was very different when I was younger. Oh, make me sound like I was born in the 1800s here. Mark's saying, when I was a kid, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. I've heard that before. If you don't, I won't be sad. I'll just make you wish you had. I've never heard that extra little bit. I've heard the smell my feet bit, but I've never heard the other bit, the wish you had. My little boy, I love that one. Michael says, I live in a little terrace which has an internal garage, and after 6 years, we're finally getting a new door on it, so I can actually put the car on it once I find somewhere else to keep my drums. I always found, I used to have a garage where I did keep my car, and actually what I found was it was just more hassle than it was worth, basically. Like, I didn't live in an area that was particularly kind of like where I was worried about the car being stolen or anything like that. I had some kind of like a driveway, so I could park it off the road. However, just keep putting the car in the garage and getting it back out again was more of a pain in the backside. So we tended to just use the garage for storage or whatever, and park the car on the drive. Peter says, I remember one year a group of kids at Halloween said trick or treat and asked us to say trick. So when we said okay trick, they did a trick with a fake finger chopping off. Very odd, but we gave them some sweets. I think they misunderstood the trick or treat bit, but they'd obviously been practicing, mate. They wanted to show you, that's for sure. There's something quite satisfying about just slopping contrast paint onto a big model. Like, I'm not having to be particularly careful. I'm just like, I'm trying not to get it in the eye socket bits, but I'm just painting away, just slapping it on, really. I'm not sure it's that fun to watch. Andrew says, I remember it ending, if you don't, I don't care, I'll pull down your underwear. He says, happy birthday little guy. Is it Jackson? It is Jackson, mate. Yeah, he's 5 at the end of this month. It's Jackson with a CK as opposed to an X. So it's but yeah, it is Jackson. So like Jack and then SON on the end. So yeah, it's kind of weird. He's 5 now. I think I was telling some of the folks in the Patreon group this week. He was really upset starting school this week after having so much time off. And was saying, obviously, with I think the summer holidays this year for his school was 7 weeks off, and then because of all of the COVID stuff and lockdowns and schools closing and stuff like that, he's probably only had about 5 days of school or nursery, as it was, 5 days of nursery in about the last 3.5 months. But yeah, he's had such a big chunk of time off that he wasn't too impressed having to go back after that. But yeah, after his first day, he was fine. He settled down quick on the morning, and he came out full of smiles, had a great day, and he's been loving it since. He's been back the last 2 days, obviously. So yeah, he's settling in okay. He's in reception year now, which is kind of like sort of 4 and 5 year olds. So he's one of the older kids in the class. So yeah, he's settling in all right now. He's a little bit sad because his girlfriend, a girl who was his girlfriend in nursery, is in the other class. So there's like 2 reception classes, and she's in the other class. So I think he's missing his little girlfriend. But yeah, he's got friends in that class. So like the class he's gone into is at the same school where his nursery was. So he obviously knows quite a few of the folks that are in his class. It hasn't been kind of complete, a sort of first day at school, making new friends kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking when your little one's kind of sort of breaking the heart, doesn't want to go in, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just got to try and reassure them and get them in there, and then hope they're fine. But yeah, it's even as an adult, you don't want to see your kids crying for that kind of stuff. Marcus, isn't Guy Fawkes Night November the 5th? Yeah, it is, mate. So November the 5th was kind of like sort of was bonfire night, but because it's so close to Halloween, Halloween was never really a thing. Like I say, we used to kind of carve pumpkins and stuff, which we didn't really have pumpkins back then, or we certainly didn't where I lived. So we kind of we carved turnips and stuff, but we never went kind of door to door. We didn't go knocking on folks' doors and stuff like trick or treat. It was always just kind of reserved for bonfire night, and then depending upon like if it fell on a weekend, or if it fell on like a weekday kind of thing, a lot of like the firework displays and stuff would have been sort of at the weekends. But quite often it would kind of be around Halloween anyway. So yeah, it was just like I say, Halloween wasn't really a thing. It was something where you maybe like you might talk about at school and stuff like that, or you know, but like I don't really remember folks like dressing up and stuff like they do now. Maybe I'm just old. Mark says, look, no one in my neighbourhood ever got their homes vandalised on Halloween. On Halloween, me and my dad used to turn the front of the house into a whole haunted house and scare the crap out of the trick-or-treaters. Tony Owl, good evening, mate. BG says, Guy Fawkes is the V for Vendetta, right? Yeah, kind of, mate. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's what the masks are, the Guy Fawkes masks, I think, aren't they? The white masks. It's funny how some of these things kind of like where the history of the stories and stuff come from. These little celebrations, I know, like we basically kind of like burning somebody to celebrate the failure of the gunpowder plot. Kind of weird to think about it like that. Jill says, Guy Fawkes was always the 5th here. A lot of Halloween traditions that come from America started in Ireland and Scotland and went over to come back. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Guy Fawkes is still kind of November the 5th, but I think it was just the fact that we're so close together that we didn't really celebrate Halloween, but we did celebrate Guy Fawkes Night. I mean, Halloween itself it comes from the whole, like, it's All Hallows Eve. So the 1st of November is All Saints Day, and the history of Halloween is basically that the night before All Saints Day is when all of the kind of like the sort of evil spirits come out. That's what it's based upon originally. Yeah, Halloween just mean like Hallows Eve, like All Hallows Eve, because it's All Hallows Day on the 1st of November, like I say, which is All Saints Day. So yeah, so there's some kind of like religious connotation to it, but it's certainly not that now. Scroll down a bit. Right, it says might be more of a weekend call than day to day. Yeah. Busey says bonfires are probably not allowed these days due to health and safety and CO2 emissions. Well, they still have them, yeah. I mean, it's the same with fireworks and stuff. You're still allowed to have them. They do kind of encourage folks to go to like organised displays and stuff like that. and go to like a kind of like an organised bonfire. But yeah, you're still allowed to have them. There's no issues with them. Certainly not that I'm aware of. But yeah, but what tends to happen these days now is it's like you'll get like sort of big sort of rugby clubs or kind of like local councils will organise big bonfires and fireworks displays and stuff like that. And so most folks will kind of do that. More from from a safety aspect as well, of not like having to set fireworks off in your home, and also just to, cause like, you know, the organised ones, they obviously spend a fortune, so they're quite a nice thing to watch. But yeah, you can certainly still have bonfires. Penny for the guy, but we had the guy. Jill says penny for the guy we had, but the guy was burned on the 5th. Yes, yeah, that's what I was saying. Yes, same here. Busey saying not sure if it's true, but I heard balloons are going to be banned because they are single-use plastic. You know what it is? I'm all for kind of like sort of doing what we can to kind of like reduce kind of wasteful stuff and that, but honestly, some of it's just, it's not even scratching the surface. Like all the stuff about like plastic straws and stuff, I completely get it, and of course we should do something about it if we can, but like it just doesn't even scratch the surface of the issue. Like as long as like countries like China and India don't sign up to any kind of restrictions, we're really just kind of pardon my French, but we're kind of pissing in the wind a little bit. I have strong feelings about how governments have tried to kind of blame everybody else for for global warming, and now it's everybody else's responsibility as opposed to these huge big corporations pumping out fumes and that kind of stuff. Much easier to point the finger at your average person on the street and tell them to remember to turn the lights off when they're not using them, rather than actually doing anything about it on a bigger scale. John says, any hints on when we may expect in the Dead Zone reveal on Saturday? No, I can't say anything, mate. I can't say anything. All I would say is tune in. I certainly will be anyway. I'll be in the chat there as well on Saturday. My wife's taking my little one to a birthday party, one of his friends in school. So I'll have the house to myself. I'll probably get my hobby stuff out. If it's nice, I might even sit in the garden and do a bit of painting. And then I'll be watching the stream with you lot as well. Jill says, no more evening hobby time for me, I guess. No more evening hobby time. Oh, your bulb's just gone. I just saw that one there. James is saying there, yeah, his 7-year-old started school yesterday. We homeschooled for kindergarten with COVID. I don't think he's too happy about not being at home all the time. Yeah, like our little one, obviously before COVID stuff, we used to send him to a private nursery because we were both obviously working full time. And it meant that when the school holidays came, he still went to nursery as well. So he was never used to really having that big chunk of like sort of like 6 weeks off in the summer, because obviously me and my wife were still working even though it was school holidays. But then when he obviously with the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, and he started like a school nursery, which is like a sort of one, basically in the UK, once kids hit 3-year-old, you basically get some kind of government funding for nursery care, where you don't get that when they're under 3. So that's why I say he went to a private nursery. And so basically when the school closed for school holidays, the nursery closed as well. And then obviously with the lockdown as well, then he was at home a lot. But not only was he at home a lot, obviously me and my wife were at home a lot as well. And he just got so used to kind of being at home with mum and dad all the time, and all that time off was a bit different from what he used to do, where he would go to nursery and come home and we'd have dinner together and stuff and kind of have family time then, where he's just got used to us being around all the time. Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for him. Not his fault. and understandably a bit upset by the whole thing. So, but yeah, like I say, he's kind of he's loving it now. Michelson, yeah, his little one started reception. November baby, so older and tallest. Has Jackson been knackered every day? He's been a little bit grumpy, a little bit bad tempered when it's sort of getting close to bedtime, like a little bit kind of emotional, where you can tell it's just purely just because he's burned out. He's obviously been running around all day. The weather's been nice, so they've been playing out in the yard and stuff like that at school. He's absolutely exhausted. So yeah, he's been getting a bit emotional around bedtime, just a few tears, just because he's absolutely burnt out. But he'll catch up with it. He'll catch up. Didn't want to go in the bath tonight either. He's so like hot and sweaty from running about at nursery at school all day. Yeah, he wasn't keen about going in the bath tonight. So that's this one. Just kind of first coat on that one. I think I'm just going to keep cracking on with this. Really, just try and get some colour on some stuff. Ed's saying Halloween was a pagan festival. The Christians popped All Saints' Day down next to it to make the transition easier. That was it, mate. I remember now. I knew they were kind of the takeover of it. Andrew says those things are cancerous in the state of California. They're fine everywhere else. I don't know what we're talking about now. Halloween is a mix of All Hallows Eve, All Saints' Day, and Swain. Yeah, Guy Fawkes thing was originally as much an anti-Catholic celebration. Yeah, we still have a parliament. Yeah. Andrew says hitchhikers may be escaping prisoners. So are the prisoners who have escaped, or are they trying to get away from the prisoners? Forget what we're talking about now, mate. Jill says, love fireworks until I worked in the library in a rough part of town. A few years of having them let off through the front door. Oh, I can imagine, yeah. I mean, it's we went through a thing, not me personally at my house and stuff, but I remember hearing of people getting like sort of like bangers like through their front letterboxes and stuff like that. That was kind of, I don't think there used to be kind of laws on how old you had to be to buy them, like when I was a kid. I certainly don't remember having any problems going to a shop and buying fireworks when I was younger. Peter says, I'm suspecting new poses for old models, new rules in 5 tomes and limited edition dice and measurement devices. Alright, it's manic, not cheat on you. Jill says, I do hobby most mornings as it is. Ah, right. I never really hobby in the morning, I must admit. I'm not really a morning person. Let's get someone here. I think we'll start with do I go with the orange? Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to paint it orange anyway, so I'll start with orange. VG says, super keen for Dead Zone reveal this weekend. Been ages since I've been excited for the games related announcement. Nice one. VG says, I think that's why I'm most excited, because I know it won't be the standard GW onslaught of products and associated costs. Yeah, I've obviously I've got my own thoughts and stuff, but yeah, I don't want to I don't want to go there yet. Andrew says, we throw 100 packs of firecrackers in culverts, just a racket of metallic clangs. This is, if I don't hobby in the morning, I feel my whole day revolves around going to work. Yeah, I kind of get that actually. Like I said, mornings for me, obviously, especially with the little one, I like. It tends to be sort of just get up, get sorted, get out the door, that kind of stuff. Really, it's not kind of like not a relaxing time really. I'd have to be getting up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to get any kind of meaningful time to myself. And yeah, that's not going to happen. So, and then obviously there's a couple of nights a week, so like tonight, Monday night as well, where I'm streaming until later, and I can never just kind of switch my brain off and go straight to bed after I've been streaming generally. I have to kind of wind down a little bit, so that keeps me up a bit later those nights, and then that makes me extra tired when I get up the next morning to kind of get up with a little one. My wife's been helping out the last couple of days and doing early mornings with the little one before work. That's been a huge help. But yeah, mornings will be nice to kind of do that. I generally kind of get up, get sorted, have a cup of coffee, and then I'm working basically because I'm working from home, because I'm literally working sort of next door, if you like. It's not like I've got far to go to work. So yeah. John says first breakfast trip to Tim Hortons tomorrow. So excited. I saw there's one opening at Bolton as well, mate, not too far from me. I passed it the other day, and there's a big sign saying Tim Hortons coming. I have no idea. I've heard of Tim Hortons like for coffee, because is it I forget what he's called now. Peter McKinnon, the YouTuber, the photographer, video guy. He's a Canadian, and he's always talking about Tim Hortons coffee. Actually, I don't think he's praising it. I think he's just saying how it's kind of like, I think it's essentially kind of like Canadian Starbucks, basically. But I don't know much else about what else they sell. Give him some orange knee pads as well. Marcus says, living in an aired area, fireworks are always banned for public purchase. Bill really doesn't sort of one. Basically, the only limitations in the UK is you need to be over 16, or you need to be 16 or over. I don't know if they've raised that to 18 now, but the fireworks that they sell, like in a normal store where you can buy fireworks, are not like the kind of fireworks that you would see at like a big public display. But however, they still do a bit of damage. Still set fire to stuff, and they'll still hurt you if you mess about with them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the only restriction in the UK is just an age thing. It's not like there's kind of certain types for like residential areas or anything like that. Casey Brain Drain says, sorry, just showed up. What's up with the Dead Zone reveal? Mantic are basically have an announcement up that they're doing a live stream on Saturday with the Dead Zone reveal, mate. So that's all we're talking about. And folks were having a little bit of a guess about what we might see from that reveal on Saturday. I might potentially do Monday's live stream about it. If you can't make the Saturday, I might do a bit of a motto, a bit of a catch up of it on the Monday live stream and talk about it. Let's crack on a little bit more with this. I'll do a bit of an orange colour around that. And then we'll highlight other stuff out. Peter says, whatever it is, it'll be cool. Mantic got on a roll lately. Yeah, I don't disagree actually. They are kind of. I feel like they're kind of starting to understand what works and what doesn't work, and like realizing that like miniature quality is important. I mean, they've always made nice stuff, but sometimes it was a case of like when they were a bit smaller. I mean, they're still a small company. I'm not trying to say that they're a big company. They're still a small company, but when they were a bit smaller, I think everything was kind of produced to a cost, if you like. These days, I feel like they kind of push the boat out a little bit more, and they've obviously got like a better sculptor on board, and their marketing's a lot better, and they've just got a good team there now, really. So that helps. They've kind of just grown over time. Right, we'll do it down here. Jules said, I for sure. I get up an hour earlier than I need to. The cats don't care as long as they get fed. Vigi says, hobby mornings have become my standard since they tie in with certain mates' video streams. Yeah, I get that, mate. To be honest, I would probably do the same if that was the case. But I must admit, I am definitely not a morning person. I'd rather stay up late than get up early. But my wife is an early riser. She'll quite happily kind of wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and like that'll be her done. Like she's not gonna go back to sleep after that. She's definitely a morning person. Doesn't always kind of get up. Might just kind of like lie and read in bed for a bit, or maybe watch something on her phone or an iPad or whatever. But that's kind of like, that's her. I guess that's her time for herself a little bit, really. Where mine tends to be later at night. Andrew says, make hobby mornings a thing. James on says, Timmy Ho sour cream glazed donuts are the absolute best. Wow. And James is saying people go nuts for their coffee. It's an institution around here. Yeah, I've kind of like, I've always kind of been aware of it, but I've never kind of had one before. I've got no idea sort of what's so special about it or anything like that. I have to try it at some point. Andrew says it's Canada's McDonald's. Donuts instead of burgers, but they're everywhere. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew they were like kind of like not a fast food place. I knew they were like a chain place. But yeah, they seem to be springing up in the UK now for some random reason. Just what the UK is kind of short of is more fast food places and coffee shops. He says with a hint of irony there. I'm kind of looking at these cards as well, getting an idea of kind of what's what. Right, I'm just going to block this all in, and then I'll highlight it up afterwards. Basically, get rid of the whiteness. BG says, only hard part is tearing myself away to get on with the more boring parts of my day. I can imagine actually, like getting up to do something kind of fun. Like, to be honest, like, years ago I did used to get up and exercise. So because that was the best part of the day for me, to get my exercise in, be it going to the gym or going for a run, or like I've done like sort of like boot camps at like 6 o'clock in the morning and stuff, and then come home showered and ready for work kind of thing. So I did used to kind of sort of make more of mornings, but obviously these days with getting the little one sorted, that tends to be the priority now, because he certainly won't just get himself sorted without any hassle. Tyler Peck says, smash that like button. Thank you very much, mate. John says, the donuts have been great and I've heard good things about the breakfast. I'll have to try it, mate. James is saying sausage biscuits are good. I wonder how much of the kind of like their menu will carry over to the UK. It'll be interesting to see sort of what makes it over. Casey Brinton says, I hadn't heard about that. What time is it going to be? I can't remember, mate. I've got a feeling it's like 2 p.m. UK time. If you check out the Mantic Facebook page or Mantic on Twitter, or the Mantic blog, I'd imagine it'll be on there as well. If you visit the Mantic website and go to Mantic blog, I'm sure it'll all be on there, mate. All the information about times and stuff. They kind of released a bit of a teaser video this week as well, talking about Containment Protocols 3. So yeah, news coming this week. I'm looking forward to it. Feels like we've been a bit short of news for a while. There hasn't been a whole lot of stuff to talk about, which is not good when you've got a YouTube channel talking about stuff. I think new topics have been a bit thin on the ground, and then obviously I've had a little break myself as well, and not been feeling tip top. So yeah, it'd be nice to have something to get excited about. I'm looking forward to it. Peter saying no Dead Zone live stream on Monday and I have a late shift. Or Jill saying it's 1 p.m. UK time. Yeah, I had 2 in my head, but yeah, 1 p.m. Peter says, I'm also a morning person. Wow. 5 a.m. over for Tasty Brain Drain as well. It'll be on a catch-up, mate. It's going to be on YouTube on a live stream. So basically, as soon as it's finished, it'll be there to be watched. So if you don't make it, it'll be there just to catch up afterwards. And then obviously I'll try and do a bit of stuff on the Monday probably as well. Tony's finished wallpapering the ground floor of his MDF mansion. It's a good job you said your MDF mansion there, mate. Everybody would suddenly think you've won the lottery and you've bought yourself a nice big house. Right. Just blocking in some of these colours. There's a few folks don't seem to like the orange, but I must admit I quite like the orange contrast paint. I think I'm painting a piece I probably shouldn't have done here, but not to worry. Well, just as long as we do it on both legs, it looks like it's intentional. V is saying there, so glad the Mantic sculpts have caught up with the quality of the rules. Mind you, if other companies' rules caught up with the quality of their sculpts, it would cost me an arm and a leg. Yeah, I mean, certainly Mantic's rules have never been in question. It's a bit dark tonight on the camera. Never really been in question. I've always enjoyed their rules. Some of their games that the sculpts for older stuff's been a little bit hit and miss. But yeah, it's much more predictable now. You know you're going to get some nice sculpts. I think John had mentioned in the Patreon group that the Spectre and the get where it was now, the other model for Dead Zone that they did. I think that just kind of shows the direction of that kind of stuff, where they're going with the quality of those. And interestingly, like no, I almost said something there. No, we'll keep that for Monday. So, where are we up to here? Andrew says, no news is good news. Means less that I'll spend money on. No news is good news. Okay. Ed saying, I hope you Mantic fans get as much from Dead Zone thing as I've got from Kill Team. I'm sure they will, mate. Folks already like Dead Zone as it is, like Dead Zone fans. They already like it as it is, so I can only imagine they're gonna enjoy it. The only thing with Dead Zone is it's like it's been supported in terms of like Mantic having just kind of walked away from it, but because there was so much stuff out for it, because it was kickstarted originally, it's hard to keep kind of adding new stuff to it. So yeah, this announcement should kind of help that sort of stuff, because there's already a lot of stuff available for Dead Zone. It's not like it needs new stuff purely from a hobby perspective. Really, that's what's missing. Something to kind of to drag in new players and stuff. Looks like he's wearing really really rubbishy Crocs on his feet here. I'll do for that. Any other bits I need to... Actually, I think what I will do, I think I'll paint these bits orange as well. So we'll probably highlight those bits up later. Peter says that morning person at 4 AM went over your head. I think it looked like it said morning, mate. I think half the time is people write so many spelling mistakes that I never know whether it's meant to be a sarcastic joke, mate, or whether it's just somebody's spelling's wrong. Dancing the orange contrast is one of the better ones in my opinion. Yeah, I think so as well, mate, but there's a few folks are kind of complaining saying they don't like it. But I used it on my my Yujing for Infinity Minis, and I thought it went on great. But yeah, I mean, I do. I don't think I've ever just painted a Mini with contrast paints, but I do like it kind of putting a base coat on with it. It always seems to kind of just cover nice, and it's always got to go on thin, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of pre-thinned, if you like. It goes on quite nice. Right, that's that one done as well. John saying Matt Sedan with the Space Lizards, this XL Orc ship is phenomenal. Yeah. Regis in, oh, he's talking to Tony there. Regis has almost got a tasty spoiler. Yeah, I did have to kind of pull back a little bit there. I almost said something and then thought, no, I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I was going to say. So you've got to be careful not to let the cat out of the bag. It's nice kind of finding stuff out a little bit earlier. But by the same stretch, it's also nice to not know anything and be able to kind of like get caught up in the wish listing with you lot as well. Take it from me, I'm definitely not a morning guy. Yeah. VJ said the new Elven ships from Armada aren't my jam, but more factions for the Orcs and Empire of Dust to smash is always good. I quite like the new I like the Twilight Kin stuff. And I quite like the elves as well, just because I like the aesthetic of it. I'm not sure I'll buy them. I've got a pile of stuff that I'm still working on, so I'm not sure I'll necessarily buy them, but I do like them. Right. So let's go and put a little bit of the. We'll leave the Teraton skin for now, but I think we'll do the armor. Well, this is kind of, on the cards, it's a mixture of green and orange, but I kind of want to... Do I want to kind of stick with green and orange? Will it end up looking a bit samey as the other stuff? Let's have a look and see what colours we've got on the go here. It's going to have kind of brown skin. In fact, I think I'll wait a bit for that and we'll decide later. Right, we'll get a bit of blood red, I think. Blood Angels red on this one. Scott saying, I wonder if they'll announce any new fleets for Armada Saturday. I know they just announced Elves, but I don't want to buy on impulse. I don't think so, mate. I think the announcement on Saturday is just Dead Zone. They're not talking about anything else, mate. So I can't see them speaking anything about Armada. I think they're just going to talk about Dead Zone. But yeah, if you saw the latest expansion, it did have some of the future ships are in that expansion book. BG says, I love the orange contrast. Use it on my Gobble Blitzball team. Came up with a treat. It's not good to keep cats in bags. Just got to pick my words carefully when we start talking about stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about. Right, just come around here with the Blood Angels red. I'll keep that bit white for now, I think, on the front. James says he's out. He says, I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you very much, mate. John says, don't we know for Armada the next two in some order is Northern Alliance and Salamanders? We do, mate, yeah. And I think Twilight Kin have already been talked about because they're a bit of a cross with the Night Stalkers. So they're coming as well. We've got Elves coming now. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot being there's already been talked about. They've been pretty good actually, Mantic, on them and kind of showing the plans for Armada. It's obviously sold well enough that they're continuing to keep releasing new fleets. My only worry is that at some point their resin shop is going to get backed up unless they've got plans for kind of expansion and stuff. because they're doing a hell of a lot of in-house resin now, which is completely understandable. Johnson, yeah, Twilight Kin are out this weekend, I think. Yeah, I knew they were coming soon, mate, but I didn't think it was that soon, actually. Yeah, I do like the Twilight Kin. Like I say, I like the elves, but I probably won't buy them. Twilight Kin, I potentially maybe would. I've still got a load of stuff for a mod, though that's kind of unpainted. So, got a load of orc stuff that needs finishing off. Because I was going to take orcs at the weekend, but I really wanted to kind of push myself to, because my orcs is nearly finished. It wouldn't have took much painting for that, but I really wanted to kind of push myself, and I knew if I used the tournament as a reason to get my Empire of Dust painted, I'd stick at it, kind of thing. And I mean, it worked. It might not be the most fantastically painted fleet, but it's done, and I'm not worried about going back and kind of redoing anything. So, George, good evening to you, sir. How are you doing? VG says, I'm not hobbying this morning. I've got a bunch of stuff at Zenithal. I'm planning paint jobs. Nice one, mate. Sometimes a little bit of forward planning is what you need. We'll paint these little, get that under the camera there. Paint these little armor pieces on the legs. We'll keep cracking on with them. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna regret it when I lean back. I'm proper stiffened up. VG saying, where's this Armada road map? I must have missed it. I think they talked about it, mate, on the last live stream thing they did. There'll be something online somewhere, I'm pretty sure. I'll see if I can find it for you when I get some time, mate. But yeah, it's definitely been talked about. Johnson, your ship's got a vote for best painted, but maybe that was Dan as he couldn't vote for himself. I don't think anyone else had much of a look in. I didn't realise that, mate. I don't think they were anywhere close to best painted. They were all right. I mean, to be honest, I rushed through and done the sails super quick, so the sails kind of let the whole fleet down. The ships themselves, I think, were painted all right, but the sails, I'd like to. I would maybe like to redo the sails at some point. But yeah. What I was super impressed with actually at the weekend was just everybody had stuff painted. Like nobody had, because it was worth an extra 10 tournament points to have your stuff painted, but everybody had. And it wasn't like they just kind of like slapped a base coat on them kind of thing. Like people had sort of put some effort in. All of the stuff looked good. I thought Dave's orcs looked great. I thought your orcs looked great as well, John. Who else have I played as well? I played John Binham, and his stuff looked great. I had a little look at Chris Coburn's stuff as well, with all the kind of like the tentacles and stuff wrapped around the ships. They looked great. I just thought people had really made a nice effort. It's nice. I mean, it's obviously your hobby your own way, and you don't have to paint your stuff. But it was just kind of, it was nice, just like going to an event like that and seeing all the painted stuff. It does kind of like set a different tone to the day a little bit, I think, and especially like with like obviously Armada's, it's a naval game, so you're going to play on the sea kind of thing. The fact that Mantic had all of their mats there as well, it just kind of added to it. I must pick up one of those mats actually. I was quite impressed. Should have picked one up when I was there on Saturday, but I'll probably just order one online thinking about it. It'll be a bit cheaper. But yeah, they're nice, those mats. I think I said on Saturday I'd never actually seen one in the flesh before. Mantic sent me like a printout. So I've got like a paper mat, but it's been rolled up as opposed to folded, so there's no like folds or like anything in it, no creases in it. So mine's like rolled up in a tube, but it's not 4x4. I think it's I don't even think it's 3x4 like the ones that come in the starter box. It was just one that they had printed out before the game was released, so I had something to kind of to use when I was kind of showcasing the game, if you like, or trialing, like demoing it or trying it for the reviews and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't mind a nice neoprene mat for it. Basically saying, thinking green sails for the ochre, as everyone else seems to have gone for red. Oh, for the oaks, sorry mate, yeah. I went for yellow for mine, mate, yellow and purple. I think everyone's gone for red because it's like the box art colours, isn't it? I didn't go for red because I painted my Basilean ships red. The Basilean sails red. So I did go with like the box art for my Empire of Dust, but more so because I just absolutely loved the colour. But the Dan's purple stuff, I really like that. Look really good. George is saying, hi Andy, I'm alright, got a game of Star Saga in on Monday night, nice one. Got a new fella going to join our fortnightly games, which is great, nice one. Very nice. Dan said, it was announced on the last virtual open day. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, mate, yeah. Peter saying you could use your Dreadfleet mat. Yeah, I could do, mate, but the only thing with the Dreadfleet mat is just, it's not 4x4. That's the only thing. But the mats are not expensive. That was what I was kind of surprised at. I never bought one because I thought, oh, I don't really need it, really. Like I say, I've got that paper mat type thing, or I've got my Dreadfleet cloth. But for the price of them, I quite like one actually. John said I got a nice recipe for red. I quite like painting red as well, mate, actually. I've always enjoyed painting red. Red and blue is just my kind of, my crutch colours. I enjoy painting them. Excuse me. It says I thought Armada was on a 6x4. It can be, mate, yeah, but the official mats are 4x4. So unless you're playing massive games, yeah, you get away with 4x4, to be fair. We played 200-point games on 4x4 at the weekend, and it was plenty big enough. To be honest, it actually adds to the game being on a slightly smaller board, because it gives you less room to manoeuvre. So it forces you to kind of come in and sort of come in close with the islands and come in close with the other ships. They also as well, because of the way the game plays as well, you obviously have the compass points on the corners of the mat as well for which way the wind's blowing for initiative as well. So it's nice to have those on as well, which obviously it doesn't have on the Dreadfleet stuff. I'll probably use the Dreadfleet one for Dystopian Wars. I'm kind of hanging off Dystopian Wars at the minute, because when I was trying to kind of learn to play it so I could do some stuff on video on that, it was keep changing all the time. I had the same problems with Wild West Exodus, because when it comes out brand new, Like it's not that settled when it comes from War Cradle. You tend to tweak things a lot in the early days. So what was happening was, by the time I'd printed off the OBATs and stuff to have a look, and I was reading through and kind of working out how the rules were, it changed again. And that happened like twice while I was trying to learn to play. So it was like, oh bugger it, I'm just gonna wait. So yeah, that's the only thing that puts me off with that game a little bit. Peter saying it does have points on the Dreadfleet one. It doesn't have the compass points in a 4x4 orientation, or it's just got the measurement around the edges, hasn't it? I'm pretty sure that's the case. I could be wrong, man. It's such a long time since I had that out. I think I had it out when I first got those Armada ships just to take some photographs. But yeah, I've not played on it, to be fair. I haven't played Dreadfleet on it either, to be fair. I bet there's still some shops that got copies of Dreadfleet sticking about in a kind of back of a storage cupboard somewhere. There certainly seems to be plenty of Kill Team kicking about. Anyway, I've seen there's still loads of places has the Kill Team starter box available. So it's good to see that. I mean, even though they said to people that they would guarantee that they'd get one and they'd do like a second print run and stuff, it sounds like they've certainly made more than enough this time, which is good. Apart from the fact, obviously, it sounds like are they going to try and like release something like one of those starter boxes every 3 months with different factions in it or something? It sounds like that's kind of going to be the case, unless I've not read it correct. Yeah, Peter saying it's divided in increments of 2d6. Yeah, I knew it was numbers. It was something to do with kind of like the way the wind moves around the board, doesn't it? Where in Armada it moves, there it moves clockwise or counterclockwise around the compass points. So, BG says, I did Zenith all 24 mechs from Battletech introductory box the other day. Now broken them into lancers and planning paint schemes based on houses. Need to play some Alpha Strike. I don't think you were a fan of Battletech, mate. I didn't realise you were into that. Right, what we'll do for starters. Any more red I need to put on this? Yeah, I think I'm going to paint those bits red as well, actually. Also, the hairspray and salt chipping stage. Do you know what it is, mate? I bought some chipping medium a while ago and I've not used it yet. But I tend not to, like, if I'm chipping on terrain and stuff, I tend to just sort of like stipple on with a sponge and try and like replicate it with a paint, purely just for speed. I've done it on like smaller stuff, like bits like cars and stuff like that, like The Walking Dead. I've done it on smaller scale stuff. When it comes to bigger pieces of terrain, I tend to just sort of simulate it. It says could be, or it could be similar to the first edition boxes where 2 team boxes and a terrain box were released at the same time. I don't remember them doing that, mate, with the first edition. Obviously there was the Kill Team starter set, which had Admech and the one that was in there, Gene Stealer Cult, and then you had the terrain, and then you had the little kind of the starter boxes which had like 5 models in and a bit of terrain. And then I remember there was a second Kill Team starter box came out, but the other one was out of stock by that point, which I think everybody complained because it wasn't as good a value as the first one. But it certainly sounds like it's they're planning to kind of, or if not kind of monthly, certainly quarterly release some kind of box. From what I've read about it anyway. Peter says, top tip, Andy, if you buy a mat without a compass on, there's a hard plastic compass that you can put on the table in Dreadfleet. A hard plastic compass. A hard plastic compass. I mean, you get like what's called a windrose with the game, to be fair, which comes with the compass points on as well. But it's more just to kind of move around the board. I mean, it's not kind of imperative that you have it. Just if I'm going to buy a mat anyway, I might as well buy the Armada mat. I mean, it's not high on my shopping list, I'll be honest. But if I can pick one up cheap sometime, might be a birthday present or something like that. My birthday in November. Right, that'll do for now. That's a good start on there. Peter says, it's a shame really, Dreadfleet's not a bad game, just a bit random. I think it was a case of bad reviews reaching potential buyers before they could get it. To be honest, mate, I think it's not a bad game, but it is just completely random, and I think people were all hyped because they were expecting like Man of War and then like something like that, and then they got this kind of like random board game thing. I think that's all it was really. Doesn't make it a bad game, it's just I don't think it was what people wanted at the time. And then obviously you couldn't use them ships anywhere else. It just made like kind of like a double use thing. It just made it a little bit useless in that respect. Right, what colour are we going to go with this? You know what, I'm going to go... I'll go purple. So I'll go with that kind of green and orange. I think I'm going to go purple and gold, I think. So let's go with... Is it the Shyish purple that's really, really dark? I kind of forget now. Because the other one's a bit light. There's Leviathan blue. I decide which... They both look almost like flipping black in here. That one's really dark, isn't it? That's really blue, that one. And Shyish is well dark. Yeah, that's what I thought, mate. I thought there's a lighter purple, but I can't think what it is. The Majos purple just seems really... it might just need a bit of a mix-up. Yeah, Shyish is good for making black, in fact. Brown brace on the pink trick. So we'll look. We're just saying, yeah, I'm not into original accounting tech. I like the Meg and Alpha Strike rules. Ah, okay, mate, that's what I'm saying. Tassie, I heard about it. Strange, but it works. Yeah, pink on the yellow, it does work well, mate. Yeah. But you said I'm only doing the chipping as it's a chance to learn the technique. Ah, right, okay, mate. Shyish is good for making black later. Yeah, it's really dark. Majos is a bit fleshy. Yeah, it's not really what I'm looking for, really. I thought the purple would be a bit lighter than that. Well, in that case, I think we're going to go... I don't really want to go blue, because I've already got that in the blue. I want to just try and have them different colours, and I was thinking purple and gold for that one. I think we'll leave that for now, then. And... I think what we'll do is have a little look at these. Magos and Shyish. Yeah, I suppose I could mix them, couldn't I? Because it's not like I'm going to do it again and again. I think what I'll do is I'll leave that for now, because I might even spray it or something like that one. Right, this one, I think I'm going to go with what am I going to do for that one? I think I might leave this one and use it, maybe put a bit of a wash over it instead. Because then I'll highlight it back up to kind of the white and stuff and do like sort of red and pink on the end of the tentacles and stuff. I do it sound like a creamy. In fact, well, I think we'll just paint this one. I think we'll go flayed one flesh and we'll just we'll do that one. Phoenician purple. Yeah, it is quite nice. I think that's what I might do, mate. I think I might just give it a spray with the airbrush on Phoenician purple, because I was looking at that. It was more just for the night, just to kind of get it cracked on, really. Right, so I'm going to go with a bit of flayed one flesh here. Put some on my wet palette and thin it down. And we'll do that one. Reset the matrix. Peter said he's thanks for streaming. He's up in under 6 hours. First day back at work after 29 days off. 29 days off, mate. But I think I'd have forgotten how to do my job after 29 days off. Enjoy it, mate. And yeah, I hope your first day back is nice and smooth. Thanks for popping in the chat, buddy. Right, we'll just thin that one down, and then we'll just layer this on. So the idea with this is I'm just kind of getting a bit of a thin coat. I just want to give it a bit of an off-white colour, and I'll probably like really thin down one of the pink contrasts and kind of just wash it over, I think, and give it some texture. Once it's completely dry and stuff. But yeah, these are kind of painting themselves, these things, man. There's loads of detail on them, so like a nice, like a contrast paint or a wash over the top or something like that, or just a thin down paint is really kind of picking out the details. And then you definitely just get away with a base coat and a bit of a dry brush on these things, or a wash. But yeah, it's Overdrive's a great game. I'm really impressed. So I think it was written by Rob Berman, who works for Mantic. It wasn't something that they contracted out. It was something I think Rob had been working on in his own spare time, kind of thing. Rob's a massive Dreadball fan. I think he'd essentially just been working on it in his own spare time, and I think it basically kind of turned out in such a well-rounded game that it was a case of, oh, we'll release it as a nice box. So yeah, it's nice to see that. Dan says, an hour and a half later, I finally got Thunder Archer built. Jesus, these models are fiddly. Yeah, I forgot you were on the Mantic stuff, on the Malifaux stuff, mate, weren't you? Some of them are a bit fiddly, I must admit, but they're not like, I wouldn't say they were any worse than a lot of companies that are out there. I think it's one of those kind of things in, like, you know, the way people say, oh, Mantic make rubbish models kind of thing. It's that, I think it's the same thing when people say, oh, Malifaux models are difficult to put together. I think it's just that there's been a history where there's been issues in the past, and now it's just a kind of like a self sort of perpetuating kind of myth thing. Some of them are a bit fiddly, but I wouldn't say they were any worse than a lot of other companies. However, in the past there has been some fiddly bits. Like today, I built Ghost Rider today for Marvel, and Ghost Rider's skull and the flames on the top of it and the flames at the back of it were 3 separate pieces. And I built, who was it? It was Venom, and like his fingers on one of his hands were a separate piece to like, because he's got a fist like this, and like the top part there was like a separate piece that you had to glue on. it was a tiny piece to cut out. But yeah, so I don't think Malifaux stuff's any worse than some other stuff, but it's definitely got that kind of that stigma with it now, I think. John says, are they PVC minis? I mean, should we talk about these ones, mate? Yeah, they're a PVC plastics, these, but they're nice, mind. Jill says, first impressions are hard for any company to work against. Yeah, I think that's generally the case, Jill. I think sometimes the amount of people that just say, oh, like such and such, or like so and so minis are rubbish or whatever, and they go, well, have you ever seen any? Have you ever bought any? Oh, I've never bought any. So have you ever seen any firsthand? Have you ever actually seen any in the flesh? Oh no, I've never seen any in the flesh, but that's what everyone says. And I think that's what tends to happen. I mean, some companies kind of do themselves no favors. So Nike models, for example, have a reputation of having absolutely horrible customer service, and loads of people you'll speak to have had horrible experiences with them. However, if you talk to folks now, it sounds like they're starting to turn a bit of a corner, and actually people are saying some sort of nicer things about them. But people have been stung in the past, so that message kind of continues to come on. And there's people say that about that kind of stuff about Mantix models. There's people say that about trying to build Malifaux minis. I'm trying to think of some other stuff now. But there's certain kind of myths, if you like, that just become truths because everybody thinks it. We have to, yeah. Everybody's saying more fiddly than the Man on Fire emulator model from the Warcry set. Some of the Warcry ones are a bit fiddly, mate. I'll be completely honest. There was a one, like some of them are a bit like a jigsaw piece, and I quite enjoy them ones where it's almost like you have to line it up a certain way, and when you get it right, like it slots in perfect, and there's such a good fit where you can't even see the joining the bits. But trying to get them lined up and then trying to show that in an instructions of how to build the model, you can't really work it out sometimes from them. Like I still remember building the what's it called again? The Necromunda set, where one of the Goliaths, like his cigar in his mouth was a separate piece. Like that just felt like so unnecessary. It didn't need to be a separate piece from his mouth. Like it's not like you weren't going to put it in because there was a big hole in his mouth where it went. And I found that was a bit weird. So yeah, it's not like certain companies get a hard time, but I think it's based upon some fact from the past, but it doesn't mean all of their models are like that. Confirmation bias, like my dice are always good. They're not, but my group will tend to talk about when they're good. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Confirmation bias, and it's like one of those things where if you're going to buy a new car and you go, oh, I'm going to buy a Mini, let's say, you will see Minis on the road all the time because now you've got Mini on your mind, kind of thing. And it's the same with like the dice rolls. If you see my dice are always garbage, you'll just constantly remember the bad dice. Every time you roll bad, you'll remember it. Every time you roll good, you'll just go, oh, that was a nice change, and it won't stick in your mind. But that's exactly how that works. Right, we'll mush this over here, I think. There's definitely, I mean, you see it elsewhere, as well. Like sort of people talking about computer games, or that game's garbage or whatever, or don't buy such and such. It's rubbish. You don't want to buy that kind of thing. And a lot of it is just that internet kind of groupthink. So and so said it was rubbish, so somebody told me that somebody else told me that that's rubbish, or don't buy it, kind of thing. Yeah. Plastic flayed ones. I've not built those, but I have heard that they're a bit fiddly. I remember building my Ossiarch Bone Reapers, where one of the models' heads was in 4 pieces, and you get like 3 of them in the box, and that was it was one of those things where it was like, please do not drop any bits here, because if I drop one, I will never see it again. Like they were so small, and trying to like trying to clip them out. Clipping them out was one thing, then trying to hold them while you cleaned them up, because you had to, because they were so small. Of course, like the sprue connection points were a nightmare, so you had to kind of try and like clean them off with a knife. But they were so small, it was so hard to actually sort of hold them in place and cut, like to clean them up again. Like, yeah, it's just a bit of a nightmare. Vision saying Thursday here, so games day today. Nice one. Going to drink some beer and play some Marvel United and Blitzball. Nice one, fella. Any chance of some Blitzball on tabletop soon? There should be, mate. Let me double check with the missus, because I've got a few things coming up with my hospital appointments and stuff. So we'll try and squeeze one in before I do that. But yeah, we'll try. I'll give you. I'll have a look at it, mate, and I'll give you a few option dates once I know what my wife's got planned. Like I was saying, she's filling the diary up at the minute, trying to take my mind off stuff. So yeah, let me double check, buddy. But I would like to. Jill says same with Wheeling Games. Do you know what it is, Jill? It was actually on my mind as well when I was talking about things like that whole waylaid games thing. Like, that stigma still sticks. So whenever anybody mentions, like somebody new comes into the hobby and goes, oh, has anybody shopped at Wayland Games before? They've got a really good price on such and such. You can count the seconds before somebody goes, oh, don't use waylaid games, they're rubbish, it's awful. And it's like, you know, it's like they've had some delivery problems in the past, but I've also heard that they're absolutely fine now and that they've sorted out a lot of those issues. So yeah, I think it's really easy to get a reputation for something bad. It's really hard to shake it afterwards. Dancing, some of the bits are just super fine. Yeah, they are. I must admit, mine, some of them are. Also, I think the Malifaux thing was because in their time they were fiddly. Now more companies do it and they don't have to take stick for it. I think you're right, Jill, and I think a lot of it came from when they moved from metal to plastic. Their first plastics, some of the sprue sort of layouts were a little bit like, what? Like, that did not need to be like that. So I think some of the kind of the flack that they get is almost kind of justified. But it's for some old stuff, basically. Excuse me. More beer needed, I think. George is saying, cheers all, gonna kick some Zeds. Nice one, George. Take care, mate. Still saying they now make them less fiddly. Yeah, gamers don't like facing reality. Since when has reality or truth been important, Jill? Vijay saying, if people compared Matic's early stuff to Citadel stuff, there's no comparison. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, obviously that you could argue, well, yeah, but that was like they were almost front runners back then and trying some new stuff out. But I mean, to be honest, Mantic's early stuff was pretty good. It was like the dwarfs and the undead. They were actually pretty good. It was some of the stuff that they did a bit later was a little bit like, oh, not great. But yeah, but that's like some time ago now. Mantic's been around for like 11 years now or something. Of course, some of the stuff's a little bit dated and it's not the best, but you can only judge them by what they're doing now. Every company, if you look at their 11, 12-year-old models, like you'll see some stuff. Right, let's go with this purple. We'll get a base coat on this. I was thinking about spraying it, but it'll end up going everywhere. I probably just wanted to get it in certain areas. Scroll bar. What are you saying? Yeah, agreed. Never had any problems with Wheeling. The customer service was excellent. Yeah, I must admit, I've used them a couple of times as well for Wild West Exodus stuff. Obviously, they own War Cradle, and yeah, I've had no issues either. So you can only speak as you find, can't you? But yeah, like I said before, your reputation can very quickly get you some bad press. Whether it's justified or not, it makes no difference. Because it works the other way as well. I mean, everybody keeps saying about like how Mantic's customer service is fantastic. And I agree, it is. They do a really good job of kind of sorting out problems when they've got them. But then the other side of it is, do they have too many problems? That's why the customer service has got so good, because they've got a lot to sort out. So yeah, so it works both ways as well. Minis on my mind. Tyrus said, I used to deliberately seek out video games that were rated 7 out of 10 because you found some absolute gems. Yeah, I mean, you do get some good stuff, mate. They're the ones that tend to get discounted quickly because they're not selling very well. And actually, if you're paying a bit less for them and you come in with low expectations, you do find some gems. And it's always one of those things as well, is like, it's a little bit like, what's it called as well, like Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk got absolutely slated when it came out because of all the problems, and it doesn't run very well, and it's got this problem, and it's got that problem and stuff. And it was like, I bought it for PC, and I loaded it up on my laptop, and it ran absolutely fine. And I never encountered any issues with it. And it was because it was like a solo game. I could just play it at my own pace, just play it when I felt like it, and I enjoyed it. So it's just like it's each to their own, isn't it? Really. But you certainly have to kind of like passing off other people's opinions as your own can get dangerous, really. Right, that's a bit of portal on that one. You come around and just tidy that bit up. Where are we up to here? John says Wayland have got Overdrive up for 40 quid. Yeah, I think that's the cheapest I've seen it, mate, to be honest. Certainly Goblin was selling it for 40. Was it 42? I think it was. They were no, it wasn't 42. It was more. They were doing it for, well, it might have been 42. They were only taking 15% off though, I think, rather than normal 20. So yeah, so they've got some good deals. Like I've used Zavvi quite a bit for my Marvel stuff because they've just been the cheapest basically. When I've bought stuff from Marvel, I've bought it from Zavvi. I got the starter set from there, which was like, I think it was about 15 quid cheaper there than it was anywhere else. And then I've bought I've bought like a few little character packs in the last month or so. And I bought them all from there as well because when I looked around online, they were the cheapest. So I've got to try and make my money go as far as I can. So that's what I did. And there's loads of people will kind of talk about them, saying that they've got problems with them as well. But every time I've used them, they've always been fine. Yeah, you kind of speak as you find, really, don't you? Rishi says the whole internet groupthink thing is why I moved away from GW games. Way too much of that in the scene for me. I'll be honest, mate, that there is a huge amount of that when it comes to GW stuff, and it can be quite exhausting at times because you do get to a point where it's like you're not allowed to have a different opinion because there's so many people just like will jump on your back. Like when I mentioned about Cursed City, and I said I was disappointed with it. There was so many people willing to defend. I'm hearing an owl outside. There were so many people willing to defend that game before they'd even played it, like telling me, "Oh, well, you've done this wrong, or you've done that wrong, or well, that's not how the game plays." And it was like, well, yeah, actually it is, but like, but you haven't played it, so you wouldn't know that kind of thing. Like, and these were folks like in the Cursed City group, on Facebook. Yeah, there's so many people want to kind of jump to defend it without actually having the experience in the game to say, oh, actually I've played it and I disagree for X, Y, and Z reasons. But yeah, it's there's certain communities, and I wouldn't say the Mantic ones like that, but I have seen it elsewhere. There's certain communities where it's very, very difficult I have an alternative opinion. I've seen it quite a lot in the Kill Team group, actually. I joined the Kill Team group when I was kind of interested in it, and then obviously when I never bought it, I never left the Kill Team group. I'm still kind of a member of it, and I keep seeing the posts coming up. And some people are really happy with it, and that's really, I'm really pleased for them. And some people are kind of like questioning certain things, saying that they dislike certain things. But it does feel like there's an element of like people jump on them as soon as they see anything that they're constructive, or they might be negative. To be fair, they might be really blatantly negative. But there's some people I've seen where they've had a bit of a constructive criticism of the game, and they've been absolutely shot down in flames and going, well, you know, but if you don't like it, don't play it, kind of thing. Like, what are you doing moaning about it? And it's like, well, the group is to talk about the game, not just to praise it all the time. And there's definitely, and I'm not saying that for Kill Team specifically, but there's definitely sometimes there's a feeling online of, I've spent money on this and I don't want to think I've wasted my money. So I'm going to say it's good. I'm going to say I've really enjoyed it because I've spent 120 quid on this, and I don't want to admit that I've basically wasted 120 quid. You do get that sometimes as well. But like I say, I'm not saying that's specific to Kill Team. I've not played it. I've got no opinion on the game. But I think like when it comes to certain expensive board games or something like that, or it's a really weird thing. Like, I've spent a fortune. It must be good. Thanks, VG. Yeah, we'll sort a time out, mate. Andrew saying there's nothing that ruins a new game for me than plastic models where plastic glue doesn't work. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with using super glue though. It's not like heaven's not gonna burst into flames kind of thing if we've got to use super glue. But yeah, that doesn't bother me too much really. I'll put these purple bits in here. I like this purple. I don't use it enough. I think what I'll do is I'll kind of, once this is all dry and stuff, and probably tomorrow, I'll come in and I'll pick out some gold bits as well. A bit of a Vikings colour scheme, I think. It's in time to turn in. Thanks for streaming. You are welcome, mate. Everybody's saying we'll do free postage at £20. So if you need one thing, you're daft not to. 48 hours later, you have it. Yeah, there's a lot of places, mate. You've got to spend quite a bit now to get free postage, I've noticed. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Back again. Yeah, Tybus, I love the undead. They're fantastically old school. I'm a big fan of the Mantic undead stuff, mate. I think it's great. I've quite often thought about starting an undead army just to get a load of those skeletons and zombies painted up. And then I remember how many you have to paint. And then I put that idea back on the shelf where I got it. But yeah, I've got my dwarf army, and I've got my halflings to do now as well. But yeah, I must admit I am a fan of the Mantic's undead stuff. I think was one of the things that really set them apart from other companies at the time, because it really was like decent quality, and the sculpts were nice. Everybody, like, I think universally praised their undead stuff, especially like their zombies, because the GW zombies were always a little bit kind of cartoony looking. I mean, they were kind of nice enough. They had a nice aesthetic to them, but they had this weird kind of blocky head and blocky fists kind of look to them. Yeah, VG is saying, yeah, 100% love what Mantic's putting out now. To be honest, we're absolutely spoiled for choice in minis these days. Yeah, Citadel, Mantic, Weird, all doing fantastic sculpts. Yeah, you can definitely add in. There's loads of companies. War Cradle doing some fantastic stuff. You'll find what they're called again, Corvus Belly with the Infinity stuff. They're doing some fantastic sculpts. I don't think anybody, like even some of these like smaller sort of boutique type things, like sort of like Burrows and Badgers and that type of thing. Like nobody's doing bad sculpts anymore. Like obviously some sculpts are better than others, and a lot of it comes down to aesthetic and taste and things. But I wouldn't say like good quality sculpts is just like the minimum entry point now. Really, it's not like you kind of, especially when you think about how good sort of 3D printing stuff is now. It's a given. It's a given now that something should have good quality sculpts. Like they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be groundbreaking. Like these sculpts as a perfect example. Like these are not going to win any awards as like people's favorite models of all time kind of thing, but they're really nice. Like they're really nice sculpts. They're good quality. They go together no problem. They've got loads of detail on them. They're exactly what you need for to play the game. Nice chunky models to move around. I just like it's a shame really that basically like it's hard to stand out now because everybody makes good quality stuff, and it's just it's a given. And I think what gets the difference now is whether people like it from an aesthetic point of view, rather than actually is it good quality anymore. But yeah, that's a whole different topic. I could talk about that all night. Vincent says many people try to run Cyberpunk on max hardware, couldn't handle it. Yeah, I think that was the case as well. I think they all kind of like they spent years of hype about how amazing this game was going to be, and then they literally came in and whacked everything up to full, and expected it not to fall over. I think you're probably right there, mate. I mean, my laptop's pretty decent. Like I bought it when I started doing this full time because I needed something I could edit videos on and stuff as well. So it's got decent graphics and processor and RAM and stuff in it. I knew it was going to be able to cope with it, but yeah, mine never skipped a beat when I was playing it. I think there was some issues on some of the consoles and stuff, which I completely understand, but yeah, but there's definitely that kind of the whole groupthink thing. There was a similar thing about The Last of Us 2, wasn't there? About people basically blasting the story about gender politics and all this kind of stuff, and without ever playing the game, just deciding it rubbed them up the wrong way before they'd even actually tried the game and actually listened to the story themselves. Such is life these days. Everybody has their opinion, and boy, don't we know it. I think we'll leave that bit. I think I'll fill that bit in. And then we're nearly done with him as well, I think. Jill says, my first experience in Mantic was the first Kings of War Kickstarter. It was a terrible experience, but I'm always willing to give company a second chance. They're night and day better now. I don't think I wasn't really involved with the Kickstarter stuff. I mean, I backed The Walking Dead through Mantic as a Kickstarter, and it actually delivered early. When I went back a while ago to check kind of when that Kickstarter was, it delivered before it was supposed to, and what they did was they delivered it in 2 waves. I think if I remember right, the Kickstarter finished like in the August or something, and wave 1 delivered like in November. Well, that's super fast for a Kickstarter now, even by today's standards. So my experience with Mantic and their Kickstarter was a really, really positive one. And I had bought some Kings of War minis prior to that, but I bought them from Hobbycraft, when Hobbycraft used to sell the little sort of the VHS boxes, the VHS cassette boxes of the Mantic stuff. So I had bought some stuff before, but I don't know what I don't know the specifics about that Kickstarter, Jill, but yeah, I didn't I personally hadn't had any bad experiences with them. But you're right though, I mean, people live and learn. You've got to give them, it's okay, it's human to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. It's how you deal with those mistakes and how you learn from them and how you put them right in it. BG saying, yeah, a lot of the Citadel Skaven sculpts could do with a refresh. Vincent saying, yeah, Wargames Atlantic, Warlord and all those STL designers. Yeah, STL's around for sure. Some of the Wargame Atlantic sculpts I've seen are a little iffy. I don't really know the Wargames Atlantic stuff, mate, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is some stuff around where I look at it and I think, oh, I'd never buy that in a million years. But technically, it's not my taste, really. That's why I'm saying that. I'm sure some people must love them. That's why they sell. That's why they're still around. That's why they're a business. But yeah, there are certain companies where I do think, like, my God, who's buying this stuff? But I think there's a lot of kind of old school fans of old school stuff, basically. And it's not necessarily like they've kind of decided to design them intentionally old school. They're just kind of stuck in the past sometimes with some of their designs. JC Brainton says, Overdrive isn't exactly my cup of tea, but I'm digging many of the minis I've seen here tonight. The game's really fun, mate, but yeah, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's the beauty of these games. There are lots of different games for different styles of play and stuff and different things you like, but I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing some events and stuff for this taking place. I am supposed to be going to the boot camp for this, but unfortunately I'm going to have to cancel it because, as I said before, I've got to go into hospital and I have my pre-assessment on the Saturday, and I'm supposed to be at Mantic, so I'm going to have to get in contact and cancel my ticket, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a shame because I would have liked to have played in the event. But I look forward to when the event happens, or when the next event happens, I should say. And everybody's got their stuff and they're starting to get games in. Put that on the shins there as well. A bit of armour on the toes. I think we'll just cover that all in, we'll make it look like it's a shoe over the top. Rather than trying to do clothes on his feet. Jill saying, Wargames Atlantic are designing for an old style aesthetic. Yeah, I assume so, yeah. BG says, Marvel Rainbow Starter and on their way. Nice one, mate, from Zavi. Wow. So is it worth more to you, mate, to get them from the UK? Do they work out that much cheaper? I'll show you a little bit what I've been building today for Marvel. And the little one was playing Minecraft on his iPad with his cousin tonight. He was quite happy just sitting playing, so I thought I'm gonna build a few models while I'm just sitting keeping an eye on him. I built some of my Marvel stuff that had arrived, and then while I was sitting, or 4:30, 4:45, my halflings turned up, and I dove straight in and built a unit of those as well. Those are the ones that's in the house. Right. That'll do for. And actually, we've got armor on his face as well, haven't we? I might do the armor on his face there, like a yellow or a gold or something, I think. So we'll leave that for now. But yeah, that's what we got done. Not a bad bit of progression. I'll show you where we've got up to tonight then. So we've got the base colours down on spawn there as well. So I'll carry on with that tomorrow. I'll probably do some kind of purple for his kind of skin, like a light purple, all that kind of stuff. We then did brown or Brank, I should say. The green down on him as well. So I'll just got like some pipe works and some pistons and things to pick out in silver, and we'll get some nice kind of coloured pipes and stuff on there and pick that one out. We've got Caradon. We've got the orange on there. I need to do some colours for his skin and for the trousers and stuff. We then got Cynic Docker as well, where I've just put that Fade 1 flesh colour on, and then we'll pick out that. We'll do the carapace on there as well, a bit brighter, get that to stand out, and sort of layer on some of the tentacles and things. Then we had, what's she called again? Scarathron. We'll pick out those kind of this bit under here and stuff. Might go with kind of, might even go purpley with that actually. The purple and the red will go quite nice, I think. And then last of all, we've just been doing Dozer as well. So yeah, so we've got some colours on those tonight. That's not bad going. So yeah, what did I build today? I built Ghost Rider. Zoom this in a little bit. So did Ghost Rider today. Do like Ghost Rider. He's on his motorbike. But yeah, his like, so his skull there, and the hair on the top and the hair at the back were like 3 separate pieces. So it wasn't the easiest thing to put together, to be fair. Like when we're talking about Malifaux stuff and weird stuff. I also built Venom there as well. So yeah, you can see on his fist here, the fingers on the top, like I said, like those fingers across the top, there's like a join across the knuckles. So across there, there's a join. There was just that little piece. It's really, really fiddly to actually to put together. But yeah, that's him done as well. And I also did certain Mr. Stephen Strange as well, Doctor Strange there, which is quite a nice model with those sort of rings and stuff. I'm looking forward to painting them, doing maybe some nice kind of light effects or something on them. So yeah, I built those up today. Let's go back to the main screen. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll have a quick look through the chat here. Perfect timing, 10 to 11. It's going to kill my back when I stand up. But yeah, I'll read through the last of the chat here, and then I think we'll call it a night. So VJ saying it was cheaper than Aussie retailer, even with the shipping. Wow, mate, that's unbelievable. That. James says, I honestly don't know how people have the time and energy to get so angry about their hobby. Honestly, mate, I'm with you. This life's too short, mate. There's too many things going on in people's lives for you to get upset about your hobby, the one thing that you're meant to be using as an escape from all the bad stuff. There we go, too, yeah. Jill saying, sadly, I see a lot of pushback against anyone who says they like GW in any of the more general groups too. I just try not to engage with online communities. Yeah, I think there's an element of that as well. It's almost you're either like, I get flack both ways personally. Like in some of the comments on my videos and things, I'll either be called like a GW fanboy, or I'll get called like, oh, well, you're obviously a GW hater. And it's like, well, why can't I just be neither? Why can't I just appreciate nice things and decide if I like something on its merits? Like, why do I have to love a company? Why do I have to love love or hate a company in order to like appreciate or not agree with like a model or something like that? Man, madness. John saying good night or good day all. He's off to bed. See you later, mate. VG saying some people dig that, like people that prefer peri sculpts, the chunky blobby style of hand sculpts. Yeah. And Tony, good evening, mate. Said he made it home from work, back for the end of the stream. Nice to see you, Tony. James saying night all as well. Managed to dry brush 5 bases, better than nothing. It certainly is, mate. Bruce is saying what's bad is that still the GW zombies. I think they've changed now, mate, haven't they, since the zombies came out for Curse City. I think they've changed now, I think. We need to give Andy a chance to catch up with the chat. Alex, good evening, Alex, mate. He says, have you ever played Conflict 47? Looking to get into that soon, mate. I haven't. I do have a rule book for it, which Warlord sent me, or gave me when I was at Warlord one day. But I must admit, I haven't even played Bolt Action either, to be fair. Michael says, right, bedtime, see you later. Sundered Psych, hello, mate. He said, I've got a first edition PS4, and apart from a couple of clipping issues day one, I never had a problem with Cyberpunk. but I know some people with PS4 Slims did. Yeah, I've got a day one PS4 as well. I never upgraded to a PS4 Pro or anything like that. I've still got my original day one PS4 going strong. Andrew says, we demand things to work right on day one, but complain if it's delayed by even a week. Yeah, you can't have it always, can you? Vincent says the Slim might have had trouble with the heat when it's running at maximum capacity. If there is the exact same hardware. And I don't think they do have the same hardware. I've heard rumours online recently that the new PS5s that are starting to ship now are already different to the original PS5s who launched, because they've put some kind of cheaper components and stuff in it. I think that like, as they can get their hands on cheaper bits and pieces over the lifespan of something, I think they tend to change them out. Vincent says, I do buy the War Games Atlantic stuff for the grognards for one-page rules. Alex is saying, what are you going to hospital for? Hope you're okay. Apologies if the question is too personal. No, I've got some stuff, mate. I don't really want to talk about it. I might do it some point, depending upon what comes back. But yeah, but thank you, mate. Yeah. Vijay says, I think War Games Atlantic are more producing a price point than an aesthetic. I must admit, I'm not that familiar with them to really comment on them. I don't know how much they are. I don't know what they look like. It's not something I've ever bought. Tyler saying, looking good, mate. Thank you. Vijay says, yeah, he's got Marvel and Marvel Champions from Zavi. Wow. For what Marvel alone costs over at retail. Tyler says, did you go with card box art, or did you do your own scheme? I've gone along similar lines, mate. So if I can, I'll show you kind of on here. So basically, I've kind of gone similar to Spawn. So I've gone with the purple and with the blue kind of armor, and I'll pick out some of the purple skin and the yellow and stuff. I've gone with something similar to that. So with Brank, I've kind of gone with like a green, but it won't be kind of green and blue and stuff. I'll probably pick out some bits and pieces. What else have I done? Cynic Docker, I'll kind of go similar with her. She's got that kind of sort of look about her. So I'll probably do something similar along them lines. Dozer, I went completely different. He's kind of green and orange, but I already had green and orange stuff. I wanted to basically give them each like a unique colour, really. Scarathron, I've kind of gone similar with the colour for that one. It's a bit more orangey on the card, but I've kind of gone with red on there. But it's definitely more orange on the card. And then Caradon, I've kind of gone with the orange armour on there as well. I'll pick some bits out. But it just means I've basically gone with so they look similar enough to the cards themselves, but I went with purple for Dozer because I wanted kind of specific colours to make them stand out, because they're not a team, like they don't have team colours or anything like that. You can draft them and you can have who you want in the team. So I just wanted to give them all separate colours basically. Chuck and Deb Taylor, good evening to you too. Says, wow, home from work, fun to watch on the big screen. I've been enjoying printing some quality sculpts from Loot Studios. I like your Ghost Rider. Yeah, it's nice, mate. I must admit, it's quite a nice sculpt. Tyler says, I definitely need to catch you painting Ghost Rider. Super curious how you do, Flames. You won't catch me painting Ghost Rider, mate, because these are my hobby things. I don't paint these ones on screen. These are just for me, my own little personal stuff. However, how I'll do Flames is Wraithbone. I paint the Flames Wraithbone and then get some contrast, some yellows, some orange and some reds, and basically just like blend them into each other. I've done that before for Flames and it works really well. And then potentially a little bit of kind of black dry brush for deep in the on the edges kind of thing to show like that the cooler spots of the Flames, if you like. But yeah, just kind of blend the contrast paints together. It worked awesome. Dancing is a fantastic model of Venom too. Yeah, Andrew saying I do Flames with contrast, yellow everywhere, halfway up. Yeah, Flames are orange and then red. Yeah, exactly, mate. Similar kind of thing. Peter saying I've been listening as I paint along, doing some paperwork, so couldn't read and comment, but enjoying nevertheless. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Son says, internet comment sections. This is why we can't have nice things. Too much negativity in the world. People need to learn just to move on. I agree, mate. I'm quite fortunate, basically. Like, my live streams are generally pretty positive. My comment sections are generally pretty positive, but I do get some, like if I talk about anything that's like my hobby streams, I don't really talk about anything pretty controversial or anything like that. But if I'm talking about GW stuff, or I'm talking about, like, if I'm doing a bit of an opinion piece, something that is my own personal opinion, you will get somebody who basically loves to tell you that you're wrong. And I've been told, like, in the comment section of the same video, that I'm basically a GW fanboy and a GW hater, both at the same, like, in the same comment section by two different people. So it just kind of just shows. Comment threads are cesspits. Don't get me wrong, I love a good cesspit. No way a mosh pit. Tyler says, thanks for showing the card art. Yeah, those look great, man. Yeah, thank you. He says, I love that shark guy in Overdrive. Would love to paint that mini as King Shark for a DC Crisis Protocol. Yeah, it's quite a nice model, actually. I mean, I wish it was a bit bigger, but it's the right scale kind of thing. It's the smaller one of the models that's in the box, I think. Oh, actually, it's not really. It's just not as chunky. That's all. But no, it looks nice though. I can't say I've ever painted a shark before. Sunday Takes says, wet blending contrast paints is an underrated technique. Yeah. Vincent's in there, those damn GW hater fanboys. And Tyler says, well, Andy, we know you are a GW fan hater boy. I don't hate anything. But would I say I was a fanboy? It depends what the term fanboy means. I always think fanboy is somebody who will basically, like, forgive anything. So even when a company does something wrong, or they do something they don't like, they will still kind of like go, oh no, I think it's brilliant because it's by such and such. So I wouldn't say I was a fanboy. I have some companies that I have a stronger connection to because I really love what they do, and I love the games they produce, and I love the miniatures they produce, and I like the way they interact with their communities. So there are some companies that I like more than others. But I wouldn't say I hate anybody, and I wouldn't say I was like a fanboy for anybody. But there is levels of, like, I think this company's all right. They do some good stuff, and I think this company's great. I think they do some really fantastic stuff, kind of thing. Oh no, it wasn't. I didn't take it personally, Tyler. I was just kind of like weighing it up. I was trying to think like am I actually like, do I hate anybody? Do I actually, would I say I was a fanboy for anybody? I don't think I'm a fanboy for anything. Like, I like Apple products. I've got like an iPhone, and I've got an Apple Watch, and I used to use a MacBook and stuff like that. And I've got, like, my wife uses an iPad and stuff like that. But I use PCs. Like, I've got a laptop, a PC laptop here that I'm using, and the PC that's running the stream isn't Apple or anything like that. But I do like Apple products. But I wouldn't say I was a fanboy. Yeah, I wouldn't say I've been a fanboy for anything really. Yeah, Andrew's saying, yeah, that's a fanboy definition. Real fans will rip a company for doing stuff they don't like. And Sunday Sykes says, the fan collective that I don't understand is the Star Wars fans. They love to hate. They love. It is kind of weird. I mean, I love Star Wars stuff, but I love Star Wars, like, as a universe and as a product and stuff like that. And there's bits I don't enjoy as much, but, like, I never feel like, oh, that's it. Like, they're stealing my childhood. They're ruining Star Wars for me. It's never going to be the same again, kind of thing. It's I just kind of, I appreciate each thing for its individual contribution, if you like. There are some things I don't like. There are some things I absolutely love, and it doesn't ruin the thing that I love. But I think, like, yeah, I've heard, like, Harry Potter fans are really kind of like quite angry and quite toxic as well, and they're quite overly protective about their kind of stuff. I think it's just anywhere where there's a lot of popularity about something, you're gonna get extremes, I think, and I think that's just everything, isn't it? Anyway, we're hitting up to 11 o'clock now. I am I'm absolutely cruel. My back is killing me, so I'm gonna get up and have a walk about now and try and stretch and stuff before I head off to bed. Take care, everybody. I will see you all. Is it Monday's stream? Yes, I will be here Monday's stream. It's the Monday after I'm gonna miss. So I will be here Monday. I do have a few video stuff back in the pipeline as well. I've got some stuff on my desk there I'm just looking at, which I'm in the middle of filming some stuff. Now the little one's back at school, I've got my days back again now, so I can start to film some bits and pieces. So videos should start come through again soon. But yeah, take care, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. If you're in and around the Facebook group and you want to chat, please drop and say hi. If you'd like to join the Patreon group and come and join our private Discord server, $2 a month gets you into there. Would love to see you there too, and it helps support me and helps support the channel and keep me independent and keep me going full time. And otherwise, take care. Have a lovely week. Have a lovely weekend. Don't forget Mantic's stream on Saturday. I'll be in the chat for Mantic's stream as well. And I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.